Boston Celtics fans are living days of tension and expectation. Behind the scenes, the front office is quietly evaluating one of the most aggressive trade possibilities of the entire season. Not speculation for clicks. A real debate inside Boston. Should the Celtics make a win-now move to acquire Jonathan Kuminga from the Golden State Warriors? With Jason Tatum set to return later in the 2025 to 2026 season, this decision could lock the future of the franchise for many years. Before we continue, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the hype button so YouTube keeps delivering Boston Celtics content right to you. And here is where the plot thickens. Brad Stevens spent the entire offseason cleaning the salary cap to avoid suffocating the roster in the future. Now, a unique moment appears on the table. Anthony Simons, despite his scoring, has not earned Joe Mazzulla's full trust on the defensive end. His expiring contract could become the gateway to a high-impact wing. If Boston packages Simons and Sam Hauser in a three-team trade framework, the result could be the blockbuster acquisition of Kuminga. A player with explosive athleticism, two-way presence, and the kind of intensity that pairs perfectly with Jaylen Brown for handling the toughest defensive missions until Tatum is back. Kuminga has a cap hit of $22.5 million with a team option next year, which essentially makes him a near expiring. That alone dramatically increases Boston's financial flexibility moving forward. But the real pressure appears when we look deeper into the fine print. For the Warriors to accept the deal, Boston would need to add a third asset, and that means one of the young players. The list is wide, but only one name carries real weight in the NBA market: Hugo Gonzalez. Giving up Gonzalez, Hauser, and Simons for a one-year rental of Kuminga and Kyle Anderson would be a massive price. Too massive according to many analysts. And if the Celtics refuse to include Gonzalez, another team may easily jump ahead and steal Kuminga from market. So here is the moment of greatest uncertainty. Do the Celtics risk long-term security to get immediate power on the wings and increase their chances of fighting for a championship without waiting for Tatum to return at full strength? Or will Boston watch another contender take Kuminga while they hold on to their assets? And above all, if a move like this could be the difference between being competitive and lifting a banner, how far should the Celtics go to make it happen? Boston Celtics are holding their breath again. A new wave of speculation is shaking the NBA world, and this time the target is not a role player, not a marginal reinforcement, but Anthony Davis himself. The possibility has returned to the spotlight after comments on the Club 520 podcast, where former Celtic Jeff Teague discussed pairing Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Anthony Davis in Boston. Not rumors coming from nowhere. Not fantasy talk. Real conversations that Boston reportedly had with Los Angeles last season. Before we go deeper, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the hype button so you do not miss anything about the Celtics. Now the debate burns stronger. The Celtics have publicly signaled a goal of cutting costs after Tatum's injury and still navigating the complicated salary landscape. Yet the idea of adding Anthony Davis, a dominant rebounder and defensive anchor, hits exactly where Boston has suffered the most this season. The lack of size, the lack of authority on the glass, the inconsistency at center. Davis could solve all of that immediately. He could return Boston to a double-big system beside Nini's Quetta, or play full-time as the interior protector when Tatum returns. His talent is unquestionable. His impact is undeniable. And when healthy, Davis is a championship-level difference-maker. But here is where the storyline becomes dangerous. Davis is one of the most injury-prone players in the league. Since the trade to Dallas, he has played only 14 games combined between last season and the early months of this one. And he is on the injury list again with a low-grade calf strain. He also carries a $54 million salary, and Boston cannot match that number unless Tatum goes to Dallas straight up, which will never happen. So a three-team deal or even a four-team megatrade would be the only way to make it possible. It would require sending multiple assets out of Boston and taking the risk of building the roster around a physically fragile star entering his mid-30s. And now the final, crushing question lands right at the center of the Celtics' future. If Anthony Davis becomes available, do the Celtics dare to sacrifice young depth, future flexibility, and financial control to chase a superstar who can elevate the team immediately but threatens the long term with constant injuries and a supermax contract? In a season where the title window is open but vulnerable, is the risk of betting everything on Anthony Davis the key to raising another banner or the trigger that could collapse the entire project? How far should Boston really go to test that boundary? Celtics fans are on high alert again. The rumor cycle has not slowed down, and the newest headline shaking the league is the possibility of Boston making a move for Domantas Sabonis. A three-time All-Star center, 29 years old, and exactly the type of front-court presence the Celtics have struggled to find. This is not noise from outside. The origin of the rumor is Sacramento itself, where reports suggest ownership is preparing for a full rebuild attempt. That instantly puts Sabonis on the national radar, and immediately raises the question inside Boston. Should the Celtics trade for Domantas Sabonis? The more we dig, the more this becomes a legitimate possibility, and not just imagination. Sacramento is expected to target expiring contracts, picks, and young talent. Boston has exactly that combination. Anthony Simons and his $27.7 million expiring contract is the obvious starting point. Add Sam Hauser's $10 million, and the Celtics get close to the necessary salary matching. Sabonis earns $42.3 million this season and is under contract for 2 more years. And while the Celtics would need to adjust their style to maximize him, the benefits are undeniable. Elite passing, high-efficiency scoring, one of the best rebounders and screen setters in the league. Last season, he posted 19.1 points, 13.9 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. A presence like that would immediately stabilize the interior, reduce the pressure on the Jays, and allow Neemias Queta to play his natural role as a backup center. But every gain comes with a price, and this is where the situation becomes tense. Boston would almost certainly need to include first-round picks to beat competing offers. Multiple teams will line up for Sabonis. Some may be willing to offer 3 or more first-round picks. And there is an even more uncomfortable detail. The Celtics might have to include Derek White to take the deal across the finish line. White is one of the most valuable guards in the league due to his defense, playmaking, and efficiency. Trading him would weaken the current structure to strengthen another area. And that type of move usually defines a franchise for years. So the urgency reaches its highest point right now. Sabonis solves the exact weaknesses that have held Boston back. He raises the ceiling of the offense and gives the team a reliable anchor inside. But the price would be massive, and one mistake could damage this roster for an entire era. And that leads us to the question that will divide Celtics Nation. Is it worth sacrificing depth, picks, and possibly Derek White to bring Domantas Sabonis to Boston and make an all-in push for the title this season? Or would that gamble destroy the long-term balance of the team? Before you decide, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the hype button so you never miss breaking Boston Celtics updates.